Hello, fellow travelers. Samantha here, and I am so excited to take you on a journey with me. Have you ever felt a city calling to you from across the world? For me, that city has always been Istanbul. It's a place that lives in my imagination, a city that straddles two continents, Europe, Asia. It's a place where ancient history whispers from every corner, and modern life pulses with vibrant energy. I've dreamt of its skyline, dotted with the elegant domes, minarets. I've pictured myself getting lost in its labyrinthine bazaars, the air thick with the scent of exotic spices and sweet perfumes. Istanbul isn't just a destination, it's an experience waiting to unfold. This trip is a special one for me. It's a whirlwind 48-hour adventure, and I'm taking you all along for the ride. We're going to dive headfirst into this magnificent city. My mission is simple: to eat, explore, experience as much of Istanbul as we possibly can in just 2 days. I want to show you that even with limited time, you can capture the essence of this incredible place. We'll walk the same streets that Sultans' empires once ruled. We will taste flavors that have been perfected over centuries. And we will connect with the warm, welcoming spirit of the Turkish people. So pack your sense of adventure and get ready to be amazed. I've always believed that travel is about more than just seeing new places. It's about feeling them. It's about the stories you collect and the memories you make. And let me tell you, Istanbul is a city full of stories. Every cobblestone street, every ancient wall, every bustling market has a tale to tell. As a solo female traveler, I also want to share how to navigate this sprawling metropolis with confidence and ease. We'll cover everything from getting around like a local, feeling safe and secure while you soak it all in. This isn't just a travel guide, it's my personal diary of discovery, and I can't wait to share it with you. So why Istanbul? And why now? The city has an irresistible pull, a blend of the familiar and exotic that promises something for everyone. Whether you're a history buff, a foodie, or someone simply looking for a new perspective, Istanbul delivers. It's a city that constantly reinvents itself while holding tight to its rich heritage. Join me as we peel back the layers of this fascinating destination. We'll find the hidden gems that lie just beyond the tourist trails and immerse ourselves in the daily rhythm of local life. Let's get ready to make every single moment count in this city where East meets West. Now you might be thinking, Samantha, only 48 hours in a city as vast as Istanbul? Is that even possible? And my answer is a resounding yes. Of course, you could spend a lifetime exploring every nook and cranny of the city. But a short, focused trip has its own kind of magic. It forces you to be present, to savor every single moment. It's about quality over quantity. This 2-day itinerary is designed to give you a perfect, intoxicating taste of Istanbul. It's just enough to make you fall head over heels in love and leave you dreaming of your next visit. Think of it as a wonderful first date with a city you're destined to adore. The beauty of a 48-hour trip is that it sharpens your senses. You become an expert at noticing the little details. You pay closer attention to the steam rising from a cup of Turkish tea, the intricate patterns on a ceramic tile, the friendly smile of a street vendor selling roasted chestnuts. This isn't a race to check off every landmark from a guidebook. Instead, it's an invitation to connect with the city's soul. We'll move at a pace that allows for spontaneous discoveries while still hitting the absolute must-see highlights. Efficient, exciting, incredibly fun. It's all about creating a rich tapestry of experiences. My philosophy for short trips is to dive deep into a few key experiences rather than skimming the surface of many. It's incredible food, it's breathtaking history. We'll start our days with breakfasts fit for a sultan and graze on delicious street food as we wander. We'll stand in awe inside buildings that have stood for over 1,000 years. We'll experience the thrill of haggling in the Grand Bazaar and the tranquility of a ferry ride across the Bosphorus Strait. This journey is about creating a highlight reel of unforgettable moments. So let go of any travel anxiety you might have about a short time frame. With a little bit of planning and a whole lot of enthusiasm, 2 days is the perfect amount of time to get a real feel for Istanbul. It's a challenge for sure, but it's the best kind of challenge, one that rewards you with incredible food, stunning sights, and memories that will last a lifetime. I'll be your guide every step of the way, sharing all my tips and tricks to make the most of our time. Together, we're going to prove that even a weekend can be a grand adventure. Get ready for a magical 48 hours. So, what exactly do we have in store for our 2-day Istanbul escapade? Let me give you a little sneak peek to get you even more excited. Our adventure is going to be a feast for all the senses. Taste, see, hear, feel. On day 1, we'll dive into Sultanahmet, Istanbul's historic heart. This is where empires were forged. History everywhere. We'll start with an authentic Turkish breakfast. Cheeses, olives, honey, and more. The full glorious spread. You'll need the energy. Our journey will take us to some of the world's most iconic landmarks. We'll step inside the magnificent Hagia Sophia, a building that's been a church, a mosque, and a symbol of Istanbul's layered history. We'll gaze up at the stunning blue tiles that give the Blue Mosque its name. And of course, no trip would be complete without getting lost in the Grand Bazaar. I'll share my tips on how to navigate this bustling marketplace and haggle like a pro. Colorful lamps, hand-woven carpets. It's a whirlwind of sights and sounds you won't forget. But this trip isn't just about the famous places. I'm also going to take you to some of my favorite hidden gems. We'll wander Karakoy's trendy streets, where historic buildings house chic cafes and galleries. We'll sample some of the most decadent sweets, like sticky, pistachio-filled baklava, delightful Turkish delight. I'll also share my personal safety tips for navigating the city as a solo female traveler. Public transportation, being aware of your surroundings. On day 2, we're going to do something really special. We'll take a scenic ferry ride across the Bosphorus to the Asian side. You'll see a more local, laid-back side of the city. We'll explore the vibrant Kadikoy market, a true foodie paradise. Savory pastries, fresh seafood. Eat like a local and experience the authentic flavors of Turkey. So get ready for an action-packed, flavor-filled 48 hours. The adventure begins now. The moment the plane wheels touched down on the tarmac at Istanbul Airport, my heart did a little flutter. I was finally here. Peeking out the window, the sheer scale of the airport itself was my first clue that this city was going to be epic. After breezing through immigration, I grabbed my backpack and stepped out into the arrivals hall, ready for my adventure to begin. The air was different. It was filled with a buzz of languages, a mix of excitement, and the everyday hustle of people coming and going. My first mission was to get from the airport to my hotel in the historic Sultanahmet area, and I wanted to do it like a local. While a taxi is always an easy option, I find that public transport is not only cheaper, but also a mini adventure in itself. For solo female travelers, it's also a great, safe choice. Istanbul Airport is super well connected by a shuttle bus service called Hagia. I found the signs easily. They are bright and clear, even for a first-timer. I bought my ticket from the counter, and within minutes, I was on a comfortable, air-conditioned bus heading towards the city center. Watching the landscape change from modern highways to the first glimpses of historic architecture felt like the opening scene of a movie. It was the perfect, stress-free start to my trip. As the bus got closer to the heart of the city, my excitement grew with every passing minute. The first time I saw the Bosphorus Strait, shimmering under the morning sun, it literally took my breath away. And then, I saw them. The iconic silhouettes of the mosques, with their graceful domes and soaring minarets piercing the sky. My first impression of Istanbul was one of grandness, of a city that wears its immense history with pride and elegance. Finally, the bus arrived at its stop near Sultanahmet Square. I hopped off, shouldered my backpack, and took my first steps onto the ancient cobblestone streets. The air was filled with the sound of the call to prayer echoing from a nearby mosque. It was a beautiful, soulful welcome. I immediately felt a sense of safety and wonder. Even with the bustling crowds, there was a calm rhythm to the city. I checked my map, located my small hotel just a few streets away, and walked, soaking in every sight and sound. The adventure had truly begun, and I couldn't wait to see what this incredible city had in store for me. After dropping my bag at the hotel, my stomach reminded me that my journey needed fuel. And in Turkey, breakfast isn't just a meal. It's a celebration. I had read all about the legendary Turkish breakfast, known as Kahvaltı, and I was determined to experience it in its full glory. I found a charming little cafe tucked away on a side street, with outdoor tables shaded by a leafy canopy. The friendly owner greeted me with a warm "Hoş geldiniz," which means welcome, and I immediately felt at home. I ordered the full serpme kahvaltı, which means spread breakfast, and honestly, I recommend you do the same. When the food started arriving, my jaw dropped. It wasn't just a plate, it was a parade of small dishes that covered the entire table. There was a platter of fresh cheeses, including a salty white cheese called beyaz peynir and a stringy cheese similar to mozzarella. There were bowls of glossy black olives and green olives, slices of juicy tomatoes and crisp cucumbers, and a little dish of honey served with a dollop of thick, clotted cream called kaymak. It was a feast for the eyes before it even touched my lips. And just when I thought it couldn't get any better, a small copper pan arrived with menemen, scrambled eggs cooked with tomatoes, peppers, and spices. The centerpiece of any Turkish breakfast is, of course, the bread. A basket of freshly baked simit, a circular bread covered in sesame seeds, and fluffy white bread was placed on my table, still warm from the oven. The ritual is to tear off a piece of bread, slather it with a bit of everything, and create the perfect bite. My favorite combination was the creamy kaymak with a drizzle of honeycomb, a taste so decadent and heavenly it felt like a dessert. And to wash it all down, endless glasses of strong black Turkish tea served in the iconic tulip-shaped glasses that keep it perfectly hot. It was pure bliss. I took my time, savoring each and every flavor. This wasn't a breakfast to be rushed. It was a moment to sit back, watch the city wake up, and truly immerse myself in the local culture. This is a travel tip I live by. Always start your day with a proper local breakfast. Fueled by this incredible feast fit for a sultan, I felt ready to take on Istanbul. I paid my bill, thanked the owner for the wonderful meal, and stepped back out onto the streets of Sultanahmet, my spirit high and my belly very, very happy. With the delicious Turkish breakfast settling happily in my stomach, I began my exploration of the Sultanahmet district. This area is the historic heart of Istanbul, the former capital of the Byzantine Empire, the Ottoman Empire. Walking here feels like stepping into a living museum. Every corner you turn, every building you pass has a story to tell that spans centuries. My first destination was Sultanahmet Square, also known as the Hippodrome of Constantinople. It was once the social and sporting center, thrilling chariot races and grand public events. Today, it's a beautiful public park. You can still feel the echoes of its magnificent past. As I strolled through the square, I saw ancient monuments that have stood the test of time. There's the Egyptian obelisk, an incredible piece of history that dates back almost 3,500 years, brought to Constantinople by a Roman emperor. Then there's the serpent column and the walled obelisk. It's amazing to stand in one spot and see artifacts from so many different civilizations. It really puts into perspective how central Istanbul has been to world history. I found a bench and just sat for a few minutes, taking it all in. The families strolling by, the vendors selling snacks, and the two most famous mosques in the world framing the view on either side. From the square, it's impossible to miss the grandeur of the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia. I decided to save going inside them for a little later and instead just walked around their exteriors, admiring their sheer scale and intricate details. The Blue Mosque, with its 6 elegant minarets and cascading domes, is a masterpiece of Ottoman architecture. It looks so graceful and powerful at the same time. As a solo traveler, I felt completely safe wandering around this area. It's very well policed, and the crowds are a mix of tourists and locals, creating a comfortable and secure atmosphere. My walk continued down the smaller side streets branching off from the main square. This is where you find the real charm of Sultanahmet. I discovered beautiful old wooden Ottoman houses, some converted into boutique hotels and cozy cafes. The streets were lined with shops selling colorful ceramics, intricate textiles, and beautiful jewelry. Even if you're not planning on shopping, it's wonderful to just browse and admire the craftsmanship. This morning stroll was the perfect introduction to the district, allowing me to get my bearings and feel the pulse of this historic neighborhood before diving into the major attractions. It was a beautiful, peaceful start to my day. As I continued my wanderings through the charming streets of Sultanahmet, I quickly discovered one of Istanbul's greatest joys: its street food. Bright red carts cluster around the square. Close up, a red cart with simit piled on one side and chestnuts roasting over coals on the other. The most iconic cart is the simit cart. Simit, sesame-crusted bread rings, the ultimate Turkish snack. Chewy on the inside, crunchy on the outside, slightly nutty from toasted sesame seeds. Perfect to munch while you walk. An absolute must-try. I bought a warm simit from a friendly vendor who handed it to me with a big smile. Simple, yet so satisfying. Tip: buy a small triangle of cream cheese from the market to spread on it. Nearby, a cart drew me in with an incredible aroma. Kestani kebab, roasted chestnuts over hot coals. Vendor expertly roasting chestnuts, steam and smoke rising. He scooped a handful into a small paper cone. Hot, slightly sweet, perfect for a cool morning. Misir, corn on the cob, boiled corn, or grilled corn. Vendors ask if you want it salted. Go for it. Salt brings out the corn's natural sweetness. Eating a hot cob while taking in historic sights is pure comfort. After soaking in the historic atmosphere of Sultanahmet Square, it was time to dive into one of the most famous shopping destinations in the world, the Grand Bazaar. Just a short, pleasant walk from the square. This place is not just a market, it's a city within a city. Step through one of its many gates and you're transported into another world. The air becomes thick with the scent of spices, leather, sweet perfume. The sounds are a symphony of merchants calling out to shoppers, the clinking of tea glasses, and the general buzz of thousands of people navigating its labyrinthine alleys. It's an overwhelming, exhilarating experience for all the senses, and I was ready to embrace the chaos. The Grand Bazaar is one of the oldest and largest covered markets on the planet, with over 4,000 shops spread across 61 covered streets. It can be incredibly easy to get lost, but honestly, that's part of the fun. My advice is to put away your map for a little while and just let your curiosity guide you. Wander down the narrow passageways and see where they lead. You'll stumble upon hidden courtyards with quiet cafes, workshops where artisans are busy at their craft, and dazzling displays of goods. From hand-painted ceramics and intricate mosaic lanterns to beautiful silk scarves and handcrafted jewelry, the sheer variety of items is mind-boggling. It's a treasure trove of potential souvenirs and gifts. Now, let's talk about the art of haggling. In the Grand Bazaar, it's not just accepted, it's expected. For a solo traveler, this can feel a bit intimidating at first, but don't be shy. The key is to be polite, friendly, and have a price in mind. Always start with a smile. When a shopkeeper quotes a price, you can offer about half of that, and then you'll meet somewhere in the middle. I found a beautiful set of small hand-painted bowls and had a lovely time chatting with the shop owner as we bartered. Even if you don't plan on buying anything, the Grand Bazaar is a must-visit for the experience alone. It's a photographer's dream and a fantastic place for people watching. A great tip is to find one of the small tea houses tucked away inside the market. Order a glass of Turkish tea, sit back, and just absorb the incredible energy around you. It's a perfect way to take a break from walking and rest your feet. I spent a good couple of hours just wandering, admiring the craftsmanship and soaking it all in. It's a place that truly captures the spirit of Istanbul, ancient, vibrant, and utterly captivating. After the sensory explosion of the Grand Bazaar, I made my way back to Sultanahmet Square, ready to explore the two architectural titans that dominate Istanbul's skyline, Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque. Standing opposite each other, they create a scene of unparalleled beauty. I decided to visit Hagia Sophia first. This building has a history so deep and complex it's almost hard to comprehend. It was originally built as the largest Christian cathedral in the world in the 6th century, then converted into a mosque after the Ottoman conquest, then a museum, and recently it has become a working mosque again. Stepping inside feels like walking through layers of history itself. Before entering any mosque in Istanbul, it's important to be respectful of the customs. For women, this means covering your head, shoulders, and knees. I always carry a lightweight scarf with me for this very reason. It's an essential item for any female traveler in this part of the world. If you don't have one, don't worry. They provide temporary coverings at the entrance. You also need to remove your shoes before stepping onto the carpeted prayer area. Once inside Hagia Sophia, I was simply speechless. The sheer scale of the central dome is breathtaking. It feels like it's floating high above you. a true marvel of engineering that has stood for over 1,500 years. Looking up, I could see the incredible blend of Christian and Islamic art. Faded but beautiful Byzantine mosaics of Jesus and the Virgin Mary coexist with giant medallions bearing intricate Arabic calligraphy. It's a powerful symbol of Istanbul's layered identity and its history as a crossroads of civilizations. I found a quiet spot to the side and just sat on the soft carpet, absorbing the serene and spiritual atmosphere. Despite the crowds of visitors, there was a profound sense of peace inside. It's one of those places that makes you feel very small in the grand scheme of history, and it was a deeply moving experience I will never forget. Next, I crossed the square to visit the Sultanahmet Mosque, more famously known as the Blue Mosque. Built in the early 17th century, it was designed to rival the grandeur of Hagia Sophia. It gets its nickname from the tens of thousands of hand-painted blue Iznik tiles that decorate its interior walls. Once again, I covered my head and removed my shoes before entering. The inside is just as spectacular as the outside. The light streaming through the 260 windows creates a beautiful, ethereal blue glow. The patterns on the tiles are mesmerizing, featuring tulips, roses, and other floral designs. It felt lighter and more airy than Hagia Sophia, but equally magnificent in its own right. Visiting these two masterpieces back-to-back was an unforgettable lesson in art, faith, and history. After a morning filled with history, art, and a whole lot of walking, my stomach was telling me it was time for a proper lunch. While street food is fantastic for a snack, I wanted to sit down and experience a real taste of classic Turkish cooking. Just a short walk from the main square, tucked away from the most crowded tourist thoroughfares, are some wonderful little restaurants called Lokantas. These are traditional eateries that serve home-style Turkish food. I found one that looked cozy and inviting, with a display of all the day's dishes right in the window, making it easy to choose. I was in the mood for something hearty and comforting, so I opted for a classic dish called Hunkar Bagendi, which translates to the Sultan's delight. The dish is a true Ottoman classic, and it was absolutely delicious. It consisted of tender, slow-cooked chunks of lamb stew served over a bed of creamy, smoky eggplant puree that was enriched with cheese. The meat was so soft it practically melted in my mouth, and the rich flavor of the stew was perfectly balanced by the smoky, velvety eggplant. It was pure comfort food, rustic and incredibly elegant at the same time. To go with my main course, I ordered a side of bulgur pilavi and a glass of ayran. The restaurant was filled with locals on their lunch break. As a solo diner, I felt completely comfortable. The staff was friendly and attentive, making sure I had everything I needed without being intrusive. This lunch was a perfect example of how to eat well in Istanbul without breaking the bank. By stepping just a few streets away from the main tourist attractions, you can find incredible food that offers a real taste of the local culture. My meal was a delicious journey back in time, a taste of the flavors that might have been enjoyed in the kitchens of the Ottoman palaces centuries ago. It was the perfect way to refuel and recharge for the afternoon ahead. Feeling satisfied and happy, I paid my bill, thanked the owner for the wonderful meal, and stepped back out into the bustling streets, ready for whatever adventures awaited me next. With my belly full of a sultan's lunch and my mind buzzing with ancient history, I felt it was time for a change of scenery. Sultanahmet, with its monumental grandeur, is absolutely captivating, but I was eager to see a more modern, artsy side of Istanbul. My destination for the afternoon was Karakoy. The best way to get there from Sultanahmet is by foot. It lets you experience the city's transition from old to new firsthand. I walked across the famous Galata bridge, which spans the Golden Horn, separating old and new. The walk across the Galata bridge is an experience in itself. The bridge has two levels: top level, traffic, and pedestrians. What makes it special? The line of fishermen stretching end to end. Dozens of local men stand with their rods casting into the water. Classic Istanbul scene. Lower level, seafood restaurants and ferries passing by. The views from the bridge are spectacular. Looking back, the skyline of Sultanahmet looking forward, the Galata Tower above Karakoy. Stepping off the bridge into Karakoy, the vibe shifted. The air felt different, more contemporary. Ancient mosques gave way to historic 19th century buildings and modern street art. Narrow, winding streets buzzed with creative energy. A fantastic blend of old and new. Historic hardware stores, workshops that have been there for generations, chic, minimalist coffee shops, independent designer boutiques, vibrant art galleries. It was the change of pace I wanted, a glimpse into modern Istanbul. I wandered aimlessly through the streets. I peered into gallery windows. I admired colorful murals on building sides. I soaked up the atmosphere. Unlike tourist-heavy Sultanahmet, Karakoy felt local and lived in. People meeting friends for coffee, shopping for unique items, and just going about their day. Authentic and effortlessly cool. A reminder that Istanbul has many faces, each fascinating. I was excited to discover the delicious secrets this neighborhood held. Exploring the cool streets of Karakoy had worked up my appetite for something sweet, and I knew exactly where I was headed. Tucked away in this neighborhood is one of the most legendary sweet shops in all of Istanbul. I was on a mission to find the best baklava. All roads led me to Güllüoğlu. The moment I walked in, I was greeted by the heavenly scent of butter, sugar, toasted nuts. The display case was a glistening work of art. Squares filled with pistachios, rolls stuffed with walnuts, other syrupy, flaky creations. I was like a kid in a candy store. I ordered a mixed plate to sample a few kinds. I chose a pistachio, a walnut, and sobiet, which has a creamy filling. I found a small table and waited. When the plate arrived, it was even more beautiful up close. Paper-thin, golden filo layers, honey syrup glistening, pistachio green peeking out. It was almost too pretty to eat, but I dug in. To cut the sweetness, one companion, Turkish coffee. I ordered sade, no sugar. Turkish coffee is an experience. Prepared in a long-handled çezve, poured into a small ornate cup. Strong, rich, unfiltered. Let the grounds settle. The first bite of baklava was a revelation. Crispy, nutty, buttery, sweet. The flaky pastry melted, then pistachio richness. Pure bliss. Sipping strong, dark coffee between bites. The perfect balance. A pure indulgence. A perfect afternoon treat. Travel tip. Always make time for local sweets and coffee culture. It's a way to immerse in daily rituals. Surrounded by locals enjoying an afternoon break, I felt connected. A simple pleasure and a highlight of my day. The perfect recharge before heading into the evening. As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden glow over the city, I started to think about the evening ahead. Traveling solo as a woman means that night safety is always something I consider, but I want to assure you that I felt very safe exploring Istanbul after dark. The city takes on a whole new personality at night. The grand mosques are beautifully illuminated, domes, minarets, creating a magical, romantic atmosphere. Sultanahmet, Karakoy, busy streets with people dining and strolling. Be smart and aware of your surroundings. Stick to well-lit, populated areas. Avoid dark, empty side streets. Don't hesitate to take a taxi if it's a long walk. Use an app like Bitaxi or ask your hotel or restaurant to call one. Avoid fare confusion. Get a licensed driver. Let someone back home know your plans. Send a quick text for peace of mind. I decided to enjoy the evening ambiance. Walking back across the Galata bridge at night. Fishermen on the bridge, lower deck restaurants full of people. Fresh fish dinners being served. Music and laughter spilling over the water. Illuminated city skyline from the bridge. Incredible photos. I grabbed a simple, delicious doner wrap from a busy spot near my hotel. The perfect easy meal to end the day. Dress thoughtfully in the evenings. Wear long pants or a maxi skirt with a top that covers your shoulders. Following these tips let me enjoy Istanbul at night, confident and secure, heading back to my hotel and dreaming about day 2. Good morning from day 2 in Istanbul. After a restful night dreaming of baklava and ancient mosques, I woke up feeling refreshed and, honestly, incredibly excited for today's adventure. We're doing something really special, leaving the continent of Europe behind and heading over to Asia. One of the most unique things about Istanbul is that it's the only city in the world that straddles 2 continents, and crossing the Bosphorus Strait that divides them is, well, an essential Istanbul experience. My plan was to take a public ferry from the Eminönü ferry terminal, which is just a short walk from the Galata bridge. The terminals are well signed, with digital screens showing the destinations and departure times, just like a train station. I used my Istanbul card, the same public transport card I used for the bus from the airport, to tap through the turnstile. I made sure to get to the pier a little early to grab a good spot. My top tip for this ferry ride is to head straight for the outdoor seating area. As the ferry pulled away from the dock, the view of the historic peninsula, Topkapi Palace, Hagia Sophia, the Blue Mosque, was simply breathtaking from the water. The ferry ride itself is a highlight, not just a means of transport. The journey to Kadikoy takes about 20 minutes, and every single minute is filled with spectacular views. The salty sea breeze was so refreshing, and I loved watching the flurry of activity on the water. Other ferries, private yachts, and even huge cargo ships share this busy waterway. As we chugged along, I was mesmerized by the shoreline, dotted with magnificent Ottoman-era palaces, historic wooden mansions called yalis, and modern luxury apartments. And of course, there were the seagulls. They soared and swooped alongside the ferry, hoping for a tidbit from passengers who often tossed them pieces of simit. It was such a classic, joyful Istanbul scene. As we approached the Asian side, the vibe began to change. The skyline was more modern, with residential buildings and green parks. It felt more relaxed, a world away from the tourist-centric intensity of Sultanahmet. Stepping off the ferry in Kadikoy, I felt an immediate sense of calm and authenticity. The air was still buzzing with energy, but it was the energy of everyday life, not of tourism. I could already see the bustling streets of the market just ahead, and I knew I was about to experience a different, more local side of this incredible city. The ferry ride was the perfect transition, a beautiful and peaceful start to my second day of exploration. Stepping out of the ferry terminal into the heart of Kadikoy was like stepping directly into a foodie's dream come true. This neighborhood is famous for its market. Not one building, but a sprawling network of streets, each packed with shops and stalls overflowing with food. The sights, sounds, and smells were immediately intoxicating. The first thing that hit me was the vibrant color, towering pyramids of gleaming olives, mountains of fragrant spices in red and gold, displays of jewel-like dried fruits and nuts. It was a feast for the eyes before I had even taken a single bite. This is where the locals shop. You can feel the passion for fresh, high-quality ingredients. I started my exploration by wandering down Güllüoğlu Bahçe Sokak, a culinary wonderland. Shops specializing in cheese, huge wheels of kasar, tubs of creamy beyaz peynir, bakeries with savory pastries, sweet cookies, fishmongers displaying the day's fresh catch on beds of ice, butchers with a huge selection of meats. As a solo traveler, I felt completely at ease navigating the bustling but friendly crowds. Vendors were welcoming, often offering a small taste, a sliver of cheese, a juicy olive. One of the most famous spots is Sia Sofrası, legendary for regional Turkish dishes, like a culinary museum. I made a mental note to come back later, for now, snack my way through the market. I stopped at a small pickle shop, a tursuku, gigantic glass jars filled with pickled cucumbers, cabbage, green tomatoes, plums. Bright vinegary smell, a huge part of Turkish food culture. I found shops selling nothing but honey, kaymak, others dedicated entirely to tahin, pekmez. This market isn't just a place to buy food. It's a living, breathing celebration of Turkish culinary heritage. I was taking my time, absorbing all the details, getting lost in the best way possible. This was the authentic, local experience I had been craving, and I knew my taste buds were in for a real treat. After my sensory tour of the Karakoy market, it was time to put my taste buds to work. The sheer variety of food on offer was almost overwhelming. I was determined to sample as much as I could. I started with something savory I had been eyeing. Lahmacun. Close up, lahmacun rolled with parsley, Kadikoy street blurred. Often called Turkish pizza, it's a super thin, crispy flatbread topped with a mixture of minced meat, tomatoes, peppers, spices. I found a small bustling shop where a man slid them into a fiery, wood-fired oven. It was served with a pile of fresh parsley. A lemon wedge sat beside it. You're meant to sprinkle on the herbs. Squeeze the lemon, roll it up, eat it with your hands. It was absolutely divine. Light, crispy, bursting with flavor. Next up, the famous Kadikoy Islak burger or wet burger. It sounds strange, I know, trust me. Small, simple burgers on soft white buns, doused in garlicky tomato sauce, left to steam until incredibly soft and moist. I went to Bambi Cafe, a local institution. The burger was savory, garlicky, incredibly satisfying. A snack you'd crave late at night, but just as good midday. Cheap, cheerful, and uniquely Istanbul. Before leaving, I picked up edible souvenirs to take home. Bringing back local flavors is one of my favorite travel traditions. The market was perfect for this. Hatsi Bekir historic candy shop exterior. A small box of assorted lokum, rose lokum, pistachio lokum, pomegranate lokum. At a spice merchant, I bought vacuum-sealed packets of sumac, pul biber, Ottoman spice mix, easy to pack. A way to bring Turkey into your kitchen. My final stop, a coffee break. A charming third-wave coffee shop on a quieter street. I ordered a flat white and sat outside, watching the world go by. Flat white close-up, people strolling by. Perfect moment to reflect on the morning. The Asian side showed a different face of Istanbul. Relaxed, authentic, unapologetically food-obsessed. It perfectly complemented my European side explorations. Feeling happy and full, I walked back toward the ferry terminal, bags of souvenirs in hand, as my ferry glided back across the Bosphorus, leaving the shores of Asia behind. Approaching the unforgettable skyline of historic Europe, I felt a wave of bittersweet emotion wash over me. My 48 hours in Istanbul were coming to an end, but the city had completely captured my heart. It's a place that gets under your skin in the best possible way. Looking back at the domes and minarets glowing in the late afternoon sun, I reflected on the incredible whirlwind of experiences I had packed into just 2 days. From the majestic silence inside Hagia Sophia to the chaotic, vibrant energy of the Grand Bazaar, Istanbul is so much more than just a destination. A feeling, an atmosphere, a living, breathing entity with a soul that is thousands of years old. This journey was a powerful reminder that you don't need weeks to connect with a place. Sometimes, a short, intense burst of exploration is all it takes to fall deeply in love. In 48 hours, I had tasted flavors that told stories of ancient empires, from the regal hunkar bagendi to the simple, perfect joy of a warm simit bought from a street cart. I had walked through layers of history so profound it was almost hard to comprehend, seeing Christian mosaics and Islamic calligraphy share the same sacred space. I had met friendly, welcoming people at every turn, from the shopkeeper who patiently taught me the art of haggling to the cafe owner who served me the most glorious Turkish breakfast with a proud smile. What surprised me most was how a city so immense could also feel so intimate. As a solo female traveler, I had moments of quiet reflection that I will cherish forever. Sitting on a bench in Sultanahmet Square, just watching the world go by. Sipping strong Turkish coffee in a hidden courtyard in the Grand Bazaar. Feeling the sea spray on my face during the ferry ride to Kadikoy. These small, personal moments are the real souvenirs of travel, the memories that truly last. Istanbul challenged my senses, expanded my understanding of history, and filled my belly with some of the most delicious food I have ever eaten. It's a city that is both grand and humble, ancient and modern, and it's this beautiful contrast that makes it so endlessly fascinating. I came to Istanbul with high expectations, with dreams fueled by pictures and stories, and this incredible city surpassed them all. It's a place that doesn't just meet your expectations, it redefines them. The call to prayer echoing through the streets, the taste of syrupy baklava, the sight of fishermen on the Galata bridge. These are the sensory snapshots that will be etched in my memory forever. This 2-day adventure was a perfect first date, and I know without a doubt that I will be back for a second. Istanbul is a city that stays with you, a story that you'll find yourself wanting to retell again and again. It truly is a city of dreams. So now, it's your turn. I hope my whirlwind 48-hour journey has inspired you to book that ticket and experience the magic of Istanbul for yourself. I want to leave you with a few final top-line tips to help you make the most of your own adventure. First, embrace the food culture completely. Don't be afraid to try everything, from the street food carts to the traditional lokantas. Start every day with a full Turkish breakfast. It will fuel you for hours. And please, for me, find the best baklava you can and savor it with a cup of Turkish coffee. Your taste buds will thank you for it, I promise. It's through its food that you can truly taste the heart of this city. My second key piece of advice is to walk as much as you can and use the fantastic public transport system. Get an Istanbul cart the moment you arrive. It makes hopping on trams, buses, and especially the scenic ferries an absolute breeze. Walking allows you to make those spontaneous discoveries that often become the best memories. A hidden alleyway, a vibrant mural on Istanbul wall, a charming little shop. For my fellow solo female travelers, remember to be aware, be confident, and trust your instincts. Stick to well-lit areas at night. Carry a scarf for visiting mosques, and don't hesitate to smile and engage. The warmth of the Turkish people is one of the city's greatest treasures. Remember that a short trip is not a race. You don't have to see everything. Pick a few key experiences that truly excite you and immerse yourself in them fully. Give yourself permission to get lost in the Grand Bazaar. Spend an extra hour just sitting inside the Blue Mosque if you feel moved to do so. The goal is to connect with the city, not just to check things off a list. Let Istanbul reveal itself to you at its own pace. It's a city that rewards the curious and the patient with unforgettable moments of beauty and wonder. So pack light, but bring a big appetite and an open heart. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible 48-hour adventure in Istanbul. It has been an absolute joy to share my experiences, my favorite foods, and my travel tips with you. I hope you've enjoyed this journey as much as I have. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our future travels together. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Have you been to Istanbul? What are your favorite spots? Let's share our stories. Until next time, stay adventurous, travel safely, and keep exploring this beautiful world of ours. Bye for now.